Agents for complete beginners, and we're going to be going through the new Hugging Face open source course. We're going to be breaking down all the things you need to know to get started. And if you want to follow along with the free guide down below, all my notes and talking about different agents, MCP course, all of those things, grab that guide down below. So we're going to go through it. I am currently in unit number one. And so we're going to be diving into this a little bit as we go through this today, but let's just go through the basics and what you're going to be learning and then go from there. So let's take a look at what some of the key concepts are. And I really like the course because it breaks down very simple terms on how to get started, and then we'll deep dive into some more. Okay. So AI agents, what's the basics of here? So they first talk about what an agent workflow is: think, act, observe. And it mentions agents work in a continuous cycle of thinking, thought, acting, act, and then observing what's happening. And when that happens, you're going to be doing a couple things here. So I like there's an example in the course. They give an example. They say the big picture, Alfred the agent. Meet Alfred. Alfred is an agent because Alfred understands natural language. He quickly grasps our requests. Before fulfilling the order, Alfred engages in reasoning and planning, figuring out the steps and the tools that he needs, such as if it was a butler or something like that, going to the kitchen, using the coffee machine, brewing the coffee, bring the coffee back. You can call it an agent because it has agency. So, AKA, it has the ability to interact with the environment. So, this breaks down what the agent does. It has a brain, which is the AI model. So, it's using LLMs. And then it has a body, capabilities, and tools. So, it's able to uh, be equipped with things and be able to use tools and functions that the agent needs to call upon. So I really like this example. We've mentioned in the past as we've been using agents, we say the difference between like a GPT, if you're using ChatGPT, is it can take actions. It has arms and legs. It can actually do things. So I really like how they break this down. It has a really basic formats for you to understand, different diagrams, and then they give examples of types of agents as well. They give examples as personal virtual assistants, customer service chatbots, AI non playable characters in a video games. And then it just breaks down how we're going to be adding things to the agent, giving it tools. So, again, you can actually follow along. We're using the Hugging Face course right here. It's totally free. And we're going to be diving into it a little bit more. So yeah, welcome to the AI agent course. I'm going to put this in the chat and let's go here. Okay, great. So this is just a really interesting course. Again, that's what we're going to be basing this on. We're going to be going through this, and I thought this would be a cool build with me and study project as we're going through this. So if you're interested, if you have more questions, let me know. But again, this is a free part of it. Hugging Faces free courses. We have that, and then later on, I just signed up for the Hugging Face MCP course as well. So buckle up. We're going to try it out. Let me know what you think. And if you have any questions as we go through this, please let me know. And again, you can get the guide with all of my notes as we're going through this. Let me put that here. Free AI agent guide. Let me put that in the chat as well. Okay, cool. So let's get into it more. Right now, we're in the core section, actions enabling the agent to engage with its environment. So in this section, we will explore the concrete steps an agent takes to interact with its environment. We'll cover how actions are represented using JSON or code, the importance of the stop and parse approach, and introduce different types of agents. So let's take a look at what it talks about. And of course, you can follow along. We're going to be looking at this. So let me zoom in real quick. Here we go. So it says, and this is all talking about AI agents right here. It says, actions are the concrete steps an AI agent takes to interact with its environments. Whether it's browsing the web for information or controlling a physical device, each action is a deliberate operation executed by the agent. For example, an agent assisting with customer service might retrieve customer data, offer support articles, or transfer issues to a human representative. And we've seen this with Thoughtly and using N8N, so that makes sense. Types of agent actions. There are multiple types of agents that can take actions differently. First of all, there are three different ones: agents, code agents, and then functional calling agents. So a JSON agent, the action to take the action to take is specified in JSON format. Code agent, the agent writes a code block that is interpreted externally. Function calling agent, it is a subcategory of the JSON agent which has been fine-tuned to generate a new message for each action. Interesting. And then it mentions the actions themselves can serve many purposes: information gathering, tool usage, environment, interaction, and communication. So this just breaks down all the different types of actions an agent can do. So it would if we're trying to build out our agent, it's important to think about where where does it classify, where does it fall into, and how we're using the type of agent: JSON, code, functional calling, and then type of action. I'm going to take a picture of the type of actions for the agent. I think that's really important. I'm going to put this in my notes. Header 2, types of actions a agent can do. There we go. Like that. Okay. The LLM only handles text and uses it to describe the action it wants to take and the parameters to supply to the tool. For example, an agent to work properly, the LLM must stop generating new tokens after emitting all the tokens and define a complete action. This passes control from the LLM back to the agent and ensures the result is parsable, whether the intended format in JSON, code, or functional calling. To know more about this, we had another activity: messages and special tokens. Pretty interesting, right there. It breaks down all, I didn't know anything really about how tokens work at all. Thought this was really interesting, broke down a lot of different concepts here, and basically what you're using, if you're going to be using Llama or whatever you use, how the tokens or the structure is totally different. Really thought this was interesting here. So it's back under messages and special tokens if anyone wants to see it. And again, I'm just going over the Hugging Face uh, agent course that is free if you want to take a look at it. So that's, I'm not making this up myself. I'm going through it, adding more details and adding notes for myself as we're building out agents, and for us to know this, these are all my notes right here. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Okay, so we're back to actions. Okay, so let's take a look at some of this information about start and parse approach. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Mentions one key method for implementing actions to this. Let's back up. The one key method for implementing actions is the stop and parse approach. This method ensures that the agent's output is structured and predictable. Let's take a look at these three different ones. So generation generation in a standard format. The agent outputs its intended action in a clear, predetermined format, JSON or code. Halting further generation. Once the text defining the action has been emitted, the LLM stops generating additional tokens. This prevents extra or erroneous output. Parsing the output. An internal parser reads the formatted action, determines which tool to call, and extracts the required parameters. For example, an agent needing to check the weather might output And then it gives an example. The framework can easily parse the name of the function to call and the arguments to apply. This clear, machine readable format minimizes errors and enables external tools to accurately process the agent's commands. Note, function calling agents operate similarly by structuring each action so that a designated function is involved with the correct arguments. We'll deep dive into these types of agents in a future unit. Okay. And now some people are asking, like, why are we going this deep? Well, we want to use other tools such as build ship tools. Yeah, buildship.tools. So supercharge your AI agent with custom tools, prompt, edit, and export MCP ready tools for your AI agent in minutes. This is something really interesting that we want to use. But for us to do this effectively, that's why we're diving into what's going on here in this course to learn little bit more so we can understand the concept to use this tool better. So let's keep going. It says code agents. An alternative approach is using code agents. The idea is instead of outputting a simple JSON object, a code agent generates an executable code block, typically in a high level language like Python. Interesting. This approach offers several advantages. Expressiveness. Code can naturally represent complex logic, including loops, conditions, nested functions, providing greater flexibility than JSON. Let's see, modularity, or am I saying it right? Modularity and usability. Generated code can include functions and modules that are reusable across different actions or tasks. Enhance debuggability. With a well defined programming syntax, code errors are often easier to detect and correct. Direct integration. Code agents can integrate directly with external libraries and APIs, enabling more complex operations such as data processing or real time decision making. You must keep in mind that executing LLM generated code may pose security risks from prompt injection to the execution of harmful code. That's why it's recommended to use AI agent frameworks such as this agent that integrates default safeguards. If you want to know more about the risks and migrate them, please look at this dedicated section. Interesting. For example, a code agent task for fetching the weather might generate the following Python snippet. Okay. For this example, the code agent retrieves the weather data via the API, processes the response, and uses the print function to output a final answer. This method also follows the stop and parse approach by clearly delimiting the code block and signaling when execution is complete. Okay. We learned that actions bridge a agent's internal reasoning and its real-world interactions by executing clear, structured tasks, whether through JSON code or functional calls. This deliberate execution ensures that each action is precise and ready for external processing via the stop and parse approach. In the next section, we will explore observations to see how agents capture and integrate feedback from their environment. So I like this section right here, the overview. So actions bridge an agent's internal reasoning. That's the biggest thing that I learned from this section. Copy this. External reasoning and its real world interactions by executing clear structured tasks. Okay. Executing clear structured tasks. Go. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, and then what I learned was stop and parse approach. Let's look at what that is. Let's get a better. Bum, bum. Turn that over there. Turn into toggle two. Now, what did we learn about stop and parse approach? One method, this method ensures the agent's output structured and predictable. And then there's three different ones, but I just think the method ensures the agent's output is structured and predictable. That's all I need to know. I'm going to take this. There we go. So we can learn more right there, but if not, we're good. Okay, so we have one more section before we start building out our agent. Let's go to the next section. If anyone has questions or wants to follow along and do this course as well, I'll just drop the link in the chat as well. For replays, I'll put it in the comment section as well or the description. All right, let's do this next section and then we can start building our agent. Okay. Oh, look at this. My eyes drying out. I'm reading so much. Man, I got eye drops and everything for this thing. Man. All right, let's do it. Observe, integrating feedback to reflect and adapt. Observations are how an AI agent perceives the consequences of its actions. They provide crucial information that fuels the agent's thoughts and process and guides future actions. They are signals from the environment, whether it's data from an API, error messages, or system logs that guides the next cycle of thought. In the observation phase, the agent collects feedback, appends results, and adapts its strategy. For example, if a weather API returns the data partly cloudy, 15 degrees Celsius, 60% humidity, this observation is appended to the agent's memory at the end of the prompt. The agent then uses it to decide whether additional information, oh, excuse me. The agent then uses it to decide whether additional information is needed or it's ready to provide a final answer. This iterative incorporation of feedback ensures that the agent remains dynamically aligned with its goals, constantly learning and adjusting based on real world outcomes. These observations can take many forms, from reading web page text to monitoring a robot arm's position. This can be seen like tool logs that provide textual feedback of the action execution. I like that. That's what I'm going to use. So it's a log. So it's just looking at what's happening and then it's logging, hey, am I doing something right? Yes or no? Okay. That makes sense. It makes sense too, especially like I don't see it as much with ChatGPT now, but like it used to say, like, did I get it right? Things like that. I don't get that, or maybe I'm just not reading that as much. Let's just take a look. I'm working on creating an AI agent from scratch. What do I need to know to be successful at this? What platform should I use? What tool should I use? So let's take a look. So we're seeing this in real time. Okay, so creating an AI agent from scratch can be incredibly rewarding. Gives me what you need to know, tech knowledge, best tools. Oh, you're thinking about me? Saw this pop up. Good to see you. Digging into AI agents. Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you. Glad I'm thought of. I hope you're doing well too. Let me know if I can help in any way. Hope everything's going well, man. And then it tells us talking about best tools and platforms. Okay. Tells me agent framework, LangChain, Crew, AI, AutoGen. And then it tells me no code or low code, different agents, Gumloop, Thoughtly, backend for tools, actions, N8N, Make, Vector DB, so databases for memory, Pinecone, Supabase, deployment, Replit, Fly.io. I don't know that one. LLMs, OpenAI, Anthropic. Interesting. Cool. Steps to build your agent, define your use case, design the agent loop, select LLM, add tool capabilities, add memory, test, and reevaluate. So this is pretty interesting. It gives me all this stuff. And then right here, would you like a more personalized agent stack based on your target use case? And then also to good or bad response. So right here, I think this is more the observe section where we're getting that feedback loop for sure. Let's put that here. And this can be seen like tool logs that provide textual feedback of the action execution. It's going to say seen like tool logs. And this was super helpful. All right, awesome. All right. So types of observations: system feedback, data changes, environmental changes, response analysis, time-based events. Makes sense. So it's just observing if any of those things have happened. Let me go back. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Some people are asking in the chat. Yeah, you can definitely get the guide. We have all this stuff here. And if you want to follow along and join the course, it's over here. Yeah, great stuff. All right, let's keep going with this. How are the results appended? After performing an action, the framework follows these steps in order. Parse the action to identify the function to call, execute the action, append the result as an observation. We've now learned the agent's thought action observation cycle. If some aspects are still a bit blurry, don't worry. We'll revisit and deeper these concepts in future units. Now it's time to put your knowledge into practice by coding your first agent. Okay, let's do it. All right. We made it. We made it. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to look at dummy agent library. Let's create our first agent using, what is that? Small agents? And then we'll look for there. Okay, cool. So let's take a look. Dummy agent library. This course is a framework agnostic because we want to focus on the concepts of AI agents, avoid being bogged down in specifics of particular frameworks. Also, we want students to be able to use the concepts they learn in this course in their own projects using any framework they like. Therefore, for this unit one, we will be using a dummy agent library and a simple serverless API to access our LLM engine. You probably wouldn't use this in production, but they will serve as a good starting point for understanding how agents work. At this section, we'll be able to create a simple agent using this agent. In all the following units, we will use AI libraries like LangGraph, LangChain, Llama Index. Keep things simple. We use a simple Python function as a tool and agent. We will use built-in Python packages like date, time, and OS so that you can try it out in any environment. You can follow the process in this notebook and run the code for yourself. Okay. 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 Go ahead. Go ahead. See. I haven't used this. I don't know. All right. So let's take a look at what we got here. Take a look at what we got. Haven't been in Python in a minute, but we're gonna try it out one step at a time. Where's my water? Let's get going. All right. Serverless API. In the Hugging Face ecosystem, is a convenient feature called Serverless API that allows you to easily run interface on many models. There's no installation or deployment required. Okay. So it's talking about do this right here. They say that, but for a complete beginner, I still think that's quite a bit. Let's see. Serverless API. We're looking at there's a convenient feature called Serverless API. You need a Hugging Face token that you can get here. See what I'm talking about? Tons of stuff you still need to do. Okay, we'll look at this. I might do it the no code way. And when I say might, I am. It's good to know these concepts, but I also know that I'm probably just going to use a no code or low code tool. Yeah. So let's read it. And then we're going to probably use one of these things instead. Module, widely supported, great for prototyping. Yeah, we're probably going to use one of these. Backend, yeah, we're going to look at this. Okay. Library. I wonder if let's just do a YouTube search. Use Hugging Face. Yeah. Well, this is great. We need to watch this first so we know how to do this. Okay. I love when everyone says it's very, very easy. Speeding it up. Okay. See, see what I'm talking about, right? I wish Hugging Face would do this for a low code version, but let's see what we can do here. So it's basically it's going over here. Okay, so he's doing it locally in VS Code. Let's see how we can do this. Let's ask here. Let's do this. Let's go to this page. Introduction to agents. I don't even think I'm there. Yeah. Here we go. Let's go over here. I'm trying to follow along the Hugging Face AI agents course. I want to follow along and create my first agent, but I want to do this with using only a no code or a low code agent dev, or yeah, I'll just do that. Let's just do that. Review the course and give me options of what I can use instead of just using, yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just say options. Put that here, put that over there, search. Let's see what it does. This is the point, right? We're learning how to use AI to be more effective. So instead of stressing about it, we'll plug it in, we use the search, and then see what's going on here. So understanding the course structure, no code and low code platforms to build AI agents. Here are some platforms that allow you, excuse me, here are some platforms that align well with the course's teaching, allow you to build AI agents with minimal coding. So, number one, they're talking about N8N. N8N is a workflow automation tool that lets you connect various services and APIs using visual interfaces. AutoGen Studio is a no code developer tool building and debugging multi agent systems. Okay. Now it says Hugging Face Spaces. Interesting. I've never heard of this. I didn't even know that was an option. Open link. What? Build and share delightful machine learning apps? I've never even heard of this. That's interesting. It's been around for a minute. What's going on here? Build and share machine learning apps in 3 lines of Python. I've never even heard of this. See, there's just so many things out there. Okay, cool. So that's an option. Putting that in the chat. Interesting. Let's move that over there. Okay. Says begin. Decide if we're going to use N8N, AutoGen Studio, or what am I saying? Gradio? Based on your comfort and specific features, define the workflow, outline the steps your agent will take. Okay. Integrate AI models, test and reiterate. Let's take a look at AutoGen. I actually haven't used it. I use N8N, but let's take a look at this one. AutoGen Studio, Microsoft. AutoGen Studio is a low code interface built to help you rapidly prototype AI agents, enhance them with tools, compose them into teams, and interact with them to accomplish tasks. I've never heard of this. To be fair, I don't do a lot with Microsoft. Still looks a bit too much for my liking. I think I'm going to use N8N. I think I'm just going to do it. Let me bring up N8N for a second. Let me do it. N8N. Sign in. Come on now. Hold on. I forgot my password. Oh my goodness. Too many everything. Hold on one second. Got that. Let's take a look. Sign in. Create workflow. Okay, cool. We have that. Let me stop sharing. Stop sharing. Let me share this instead. Okay. Now, I don't think I have access to the make AI agents yet. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's see. Do I like this? Okay, cool. That's a better position. Okay. So what we have here is N8N. If anyone wants to try it out, I'll drop the link down below. Actually, we can actually show a tool that we're using. What is it called? Just add AI.co. I love this. So tools, go to N8N. We want to try it out. This is the tool here. It's an affiliate link. And this is a new tool that we built with Lovable. So this is actually how I'm adding all the different tools when I'm reviewing things like that. Built it with Superbase and Lovable. Kind of allows you to have like I can talk about the tool, pros and cons, connected with ConvertKit. I'm actually pretty happy how it turned out. So right here, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can test out different tools, or discover new tools that I'm using. And then also have a blog post that I created pretty easily, all with Lovable. Did a whole other video the other day about it, but I'm pretty pleased about this. So all my different tools I'm talking about when I'm looking for my affiliate links, stuff like that, I just decided to build it out with Lovable. Yeah. So let's talk about this for a second. So when we're using N8N, let me know in the chat if you've used this before or have tried using N8N. But the first thing is we can start with an action so we can decide on what triggers it. We can have a trigger manually on app event, on a schedule, on a webhook call, a form submission, on chat message, or others, right? Let's just go with a manual. So when clicking test workflow, it will do something. Now, once we have the test workflow here, now we can actually decide what do we want. We can have AI so we can build autonomous agents, summarize or search documents. So we can actually just build out the agent right here. And then here are the recommendations. We can do AI agent, OpenAI, basic LLM chain. Let's just do agent. And then this is really interesting, right? So it says source for prompt user. So connected chat trigger node. So we can say connected chat trigger node looks for an input field called chat input that is coming from a directly connected to the chat trigger, or we can define below. So, bottom line right here, we can start building out what we want our AI agent to do. We can have system message, max iterations, all of those things right here, which is pretty amazing. So, a lot of the things, again, that we were deciding to do that we found in the Hugging Face documentation and course, you can do it almost right out the box here with N8N. I think this is one of the most powerful and best looking interfaces if you're going to do this in a no code way. And so we have this, we can have a chat model here. We can connect OpenAI if we want to. Right, let's go back. So we can do the chat model, we can do the memory. So now we can decide, hey, we're going to do a simple memory. We can say how much memory do we want to have it remember the last conversation, the last 5 messages, all those things. So we have the memory chat model, so the brain of it, and then we have the tool. So we can then decide what kind of tool do we want it to have. I mean, and there's tons. ClickUp tool. We can have a bubble tool. I mean, this is pretty extensive. And this is the power of what can we start thinking about using agents for? And this is just a very easy way and a custom way. Look, I said easy, and I was mad at the other person saying it was easy. Yeah, it's not easy. This is new, but this is I'll say this. It allows you to move a lot quicker because it's visual than trying to wrap your head around either using code. If you're a non-technical founder or you're non-technical and you want to do it visually, I have found this is a more straightforward way of thinking about building agents. I'll put it that way. Versus, hey, this is easy. Well, we just watched this video where he's like, oh yeah, it's easy to do. And then we got confused and we had to leave. Look at this too. You can also do an Adalo tool, Airtable tool, read, update, write, and delete data from Airtable. Very interesting. Okay, so we have tools, everything like this. So we have what's going to be the trigger, what is the AI agent going to do, and then on the other side, what do we want to happen next? Do we want it to do data transformation, action in the application? Do we want to talk to another agent afterwards? What do we want to happen? There's tons of things that we can do. Oh, someone in the chat. Hi. Well, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Talking about AI agents, talking about the Hugging Face course, and what kind of tools we can use. So we just use N8N. I also think there is another one that I want to try using as well. I still have to do some research on how to get this going, but let me work on this. Glenn, I saw this on Twitter the other day. What was Glenn talking about? Let me search through it real quick. Let me see what he was saying. I think he was talking about Langflow. I think I'm checking. Let me go through this. Superbase just did MCP server. Okay. Let's see. I think it's Langflow. Let me just check. I'm almost positive it's Langflow. Yeah, it's Langflow. Now, can we access this? Get started for free. I think I have to run it on Railway. I think that's what I have to do. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to try that out. Yeah, we have someone else. Jeep. Hey, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Okay, so Langflow, I think we're going to have to use Railway. I think. Well, let me see if I can just sign up for it and go from there. But again, hopefully, let me know if this makes sense. If we have a couple other videos, and there's better channels out there if you want to learn like deep dive into N8N. But what I want is, especially that's why I was taking this course, to understand more concepts. So then it's an easier plug and place. Whatever tool comes out on the market, understanding the key concepts of we have an agent that needs a model, an AI brain, or an LLM to do something. We need to have some kind of memory capacity and then a tool connected to it. And then we're off to the races. And so this really helps us to like go and and scale a lot quicker once we have these concepts in mind. Okay, let me stop screen sharing for a second. Let's take a look at Langflow for a second, and then we're going to come right back and we're going to go more into this lesson. But I think we did what we need to for this section in a low code way. Start for free. Let me see if I can sign up. It's private. See this document. Continue using. Hold on one second. I'm going to share my screen in a second. Let's resume this thing. Okay, so let's take a look at Langflow. Langflow Mac OS Alpha. Interesting. Let's download it. Download Langflow desktop in one click. Let's do it. Let's move some things over. Adding some details. Okay. Can we really download it? Enter a business email address. Fine. Oh, I'm on caps locks. So I'm just doing this on my second monitor and then bring it back. Thank you. Interest download is now available. Amazing. Let's see. Okay. Start building. Begin with a template and start from scratch. For some reason, I thought, how is this free? Is this free? Oh, well. Let's start with a new flow. Perform basic prompting with an AI model. Simple agent, a simple but powerful starter agent. Examples: search agent, financial agent, SaaS pricing, YouTube analysis, checks, and okay. SEO keyword. Let's just do YouTube. Oh, this seems like a lot. Interesting. This flow performs analysis of YouTube videos, extract video comments and transcripts, run sentiment analysis on comments using LLMs, OpenAI, prerequisites, OpenAI API keys. Interesting. Okay. Projects. Love it. Let's just do simple agent. Run an agent with URL and calculator tools available for its use. The agent decides which tool to use to solve a problem. Add your OpenAI key to the agent. Open the playground and chat with the agent. Request some information about a recipe and then ask to add two numbers together. Response: the agent will use different tools to solve the problems. Connect more tools to the agent to create a perfect assistant. See more for documentation. Interesting. Okay, so we have that. Chat input. We need API keys right there. Okay, calculator. So really, I just need the API key. Okay. And then what does the playground's right there. This is pretty interesting. Man, everyone's coming in to say hello. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. Everyone's hanging out. Let me know where everyone's watching from. It's great. Okay. Let me do this real quick. So this is great. Okay. So let me do some work over here on another screen. Let me go into, I had to go into OpenAI, grab some stuff, move some things around, and then we'll take a look what happens. No, yeah, we need that, of course. Covered. Coding or programming? Tell me more. What are we doing here? I'm from India. Thank you so much for being here. Right now, we're doing a minimal amount of coding, if any. With Hugging Face, there are a couple different ways to do it with Python. We talked about it on this stream, and I think other streams. I am very bad at using Python. And so I use a lot of tools like N8N and others like Langflow instead because I try to do as much without coding. But tell me more. More questions. This is great. Okay, let me grab some things real quick. Let me do that. So what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing some API keys real quick, everybody. Have to do it off screen. That way nothing crazy happens to my account. And then I'll be right with you. Let's see. This is Langflow. Okay. Let's bring this over here. So we're using Langflow right now just to test it out. Yeah. So let's zoom out here. Let me add some things. Copy. Okay. Open playground. Okay. Let's take a look at what happens. Okay, so we did all of that stuff. Ness is saying, "Oh, thank you." Ness is saying, "What's Langflow and how is it different from N8N?" That's a great question. So there's a lot of different platforms out there that allow you to be building out these agents. There are just a lot. N8N, I feel, has really benefited. It basically combines if you're already using automation and doing things like that, they just have a component where you're going to be able to use AI agents in a very simplistic way. Langflow is a platform that is going to be closer to a low code builder, but allows you to use APIs, databases, and everything like that. And so what you're able to do in N8N is very comparable of what you can do in Langflow. Langflow is just going to be giving you just a little bit more um, control. And if you're going to be doing a little bit more like detailed work where you're going to be maybe using some coding, that's where Langflow kind of comes in. Let me know if that makes sense. Um, Also, too, if like this is an example, Langflow, if you're going to be using this or yeah, let me know if that makes sense. I'll stop there for a second. Yeah, that would be the main difference. N8N, for years, I always thought they were behind from Make or Zapier or something like that. But their AI agent experience is so good. It has really taken the space by storm. It's very easy to build. This one is going to be a little bit more intricate, and again, that's why we're trying it out and trying out some things. Yeah. And you can even look at it like inputs, your outputs, prompts. There's just a lot more here under the hood, it looks like. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so open the playground and chat with the agent, request some information about a recipe, then ask to add two numbers together. Okay, let's just do it. I want to learn how to make an apple pie. So let's take a look. We connected it with our OpenAI account, so we'll be able to do that as well. It's thinking for a moment. Hey, just followed you on X. Really enjoying the live videos. Super motivating. I hope you keep going. Watching from Europe. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Really do appreciate it. Yeah. I have generate. I have a doubt. Tell me more. I think I'm missing something. AI is a. Oh, maybe you have your doubts. AI is generative a database. Maybe you have doubts that it can do that. Tell me more. Okay, so finished right here. It's letting us know what it's doing. Ooh, look at this, right? So this goes back into, let me zoom in. This kind of goes back into, we can look under the hood input. I want to learn how to make an apple pie. Executed, and then it says URL fetch content text right here. Output, skip to content, all recipes search. So it really gives us all of this stuff. Very interesting. So it's allowing us to see under the hood what it's doing to get us to that answer. Similar, in a similar way, if we were looking at the action section of Hugging Face, understanding how it did that. Well, I mean, even the beginning, the thought, internal reasoning, and then actions, and then observing what we want, the outcome. It's given us all of these things. Let the pie cool, enjoy the homemade pie. I'm going to say, great. What is, let's say 36 times 8? This thing makes sense. Would you recommend it for someone who barely knows any coding? From what I'm getting, it's more complicated. Yeah, I would go with N8N. From what I can see right now. I mean, this is pretty impressive what Langflow can do, but this is quite a bit. This is quite a bit. I think N8N is more user friendly. I'm excited to see what make.com does with their AI agents. It might be even more simple, but I would probably stick with that. Again, we might experiment with this more if people want us to look at Langflow more. Take a look. Now we're in the playground, and obviously it's going to take some time, but let's see what it does. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Just thinking about, and I downloaded the Langflow desktop. Yeah, I wonder. I haven't seen, sir. I doubt AI is, or I doubt AI can generate database. So I don't usually see that word or that grammar, that structure there. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying you doubt that AI can generate the database you're looking for. So like database schema. If that's the case, kind of depends on the what you're using it for. Let me know if I'm understanding that correctly. I think it's just a word or two I'm missing here. Okay, so 34 multiplied by 8, 272, right? So it took us a while, went through it, probably because we're in testing mode or playground, it might take some time. It's breaking down how we get there, all those things. Very basic, but that's pretty interesting. Connect more tools to agent to create a perfect assistant. Very basic. Let's take a look at the structure and go from there. So right off the bat, it depends on what tool you're using, or if I'm missing something, perhaps. Superbase, when you're using some of the functions, when you're being able to describe the database, the vector database you want, you can be using AI assistant to do this. If we're talking about just like using ChatGPT to generate a database, I don't at this point I haven't really seen it. Maybe if you do like a very basic one and export, I haven't tried it. But if I'm going to be using a tool like Superbase, there are AI tools in it to generate certain database structure. If we're talking about database schema, it just kind of depends. But I would probably take a look at what they have here. They've been releasing a lot of interesting functionality with Superbase, but again, without knowing all the specifics, and if I'm understanding the question correctly, I could be wrong. Probably take a look at Superbase. Go from there. Yeah. Hopefully that answers the question. Hopefully we're on the right track. So this is what we use for our and if we're using this in conjunction with like Lovable or something like that, so like a ID to be able to structure it, that could be possible. But again, if we're using something like ChatGPT, I haven't used it that way. Probably limited things you could definitely do with it. I'm not sure. Great question. Yeah, so we just tried out Langflow. Interesting. Again, I wonder how much this is. I signed up for it. There's got to be. I didn't see a pricing on this, which is weird. But yeah, to be continued. So if we look at this, you can have URL load and retrieve data from a specific URL calculator. We have the tool add your OpenAI key here. Very simple. And then it says, or very concise how to do this. Now we have a tool here. We have a chat output as well. It looks like we can probably just add other tools here. Let's see here. Tools. Ooh, so we can do a bunch of things. So let's do Wikipedia. Can I just drag it here? Okay. So I can drag Wikipedia. Input. That's interesting. Call Wikipedia API. Number of results 4. Can I just add this thing? So what did it just say? I just tried to drag to connect compatible outputs. Click to filter compatible outputs and components. Click to filter. Incompatible with data output. Incompatible there. Let's see about this. What about that? Compatible. Interesting. So I need to learn more how I can connect these things. Yeah. But pretty interesting here. Okay. So that's definitely one thing I want to do more research on Langflow. This is the first time really building anything or trying it out. Well, we might look at the documentation later. Maybe I should have looked at the quick start. Create a flow, bring your own data, integrate your flow. Integrate your flow into external applications as an API endpoint. It reminds me of build ship and what you're doing over there. Yeah, reminds me of build ship. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so let's just take a look at the quick start. So, Google search. Let me see if I can do that. Zoom in. Okay. Tool set there. Interesting. Okay. I just need to look at the quick start. Get to know Langflow by building an OpenAI output chatbot application. I just did that. Oh, well, it's not that long. Okay, let's look at this real quick. Let's look at this. After you constructed a chatbot, add retrieval augmented generation RAG to chat with your own data. So prerequisites: add an OpenAI key, an active serverless vector database, Astra database token scope to read and write to the database. Okay. Collection create an Astra or a new collection. Open LangChain and start a new project. In the Astra portal, header, switch your active app from Astra database server list to Langflow. I don't know why. This might be old documentation. I was like, they should just have it as a one click to be able to create that template. I think this is already here. Well, although it's a URL. Okay. We might do that in a little bit. Okay, cool. All right, we got that done. Let's do the quiz and then we'll look at next steps. Well done on working through the first unit. Let's look at a quiz. Welcome to the quiz. Log in first, then click to start. Okay, cool. Quiz. Would you like to access your Hugging Face account? Yeah, fine. Authorize. Okay, let's start. Let's look at the quiz here. Can I zoom in? Okay. How many questions is this? Okay. What is the primary benefit of breaking down complex problems into smaller, more manageable steps? It allows agents to generate a final answer without further observation. It makes the problem more manageable and improves accuracy of planning. It reduces the number of internal dialogue. It allows the agent to bypass the thought. I think it makes the problem more manageable, improves accuracy. Let's go with next. Question two: what types of information can be included in observations? Only system errors, only environmental, a variety of feedback, systems, API response, sensor readings. It's that one, only internal. Next, how are tools typically integrated into an AI agent system? They are manually coded into the agent's output sequence. They are provided as textual descriptions in the system prompt. They are embedded directly into the LLMs neural network weights. No, they are integrated via external APIs without any textual descriptions. I think they are provided as textual descriptions in system prompts. Let's see. Typically, let's take a look at my thing here. The brain tools. This part represents everything the agent is equipped to do. Actions are higher level objectives, while tools are specific functions the agent can call upon. Okay. What types of AI models do we use for agents? Examples, great. Need an AI model for the core here. So, how the agent uses tools, how this works, what the tool does, what exact inputs it expects. Let's look at this. What tools are functions that give LLMs extra capabilities, how to define a tool, clear textual description, inputs, and function. See, so I think it's textual. I think that's the thing. Provide as textual descriptions in the system prompt. I think it's that. What is the primary role of the observation phase in the AI cycle? To initiate a new action, to gather feedback, from environments such as an API, responses, or error messages that can form subsequent decisions to generate the final response without further processing to store historical actions. I think it's to gather feedback. Gather feedback. Yeah. What role in a conversation sets the overall behavior for the model? I think it's system. What role in a conversation behavior? I have this. Hold on. Let me go back for a second. What role? It was an interesting thing there. They were talking about it was talking about like a butler. I think it's settings though. Messages, what are tools, actions. I even know what the page looks like. I see the butler having an attitude. There we go. With this system message. Yeah. So system message is how the message should behave. So I think which role is a conversation sets overall behavior of the model? I think it's the system. All right. Let's see. What is an important consideration in tool interface design? Making the interface as complex as possible? No. Using graphical interfaces, providing structured output and clear descriptions. What are observations in the context of an AI agent? Internal thoughts that direct the agent's planning, signals from the environment, such as API, error messages, the guide to next cycle. That guide, yeah. Final answer, predefined static. No. Excuse me. What role does the observation step play in the thought action observation cycle? Determines the next action to be taken. It captures feedback and results from the executed actions. It initiates the planning phase. It executes API calls. Determines the next actions to be taken. It captures feedback. So, does the observation? I'm pretty sure it captures feedback and results from executed actions. I think it also helps determines the next action, but I think it captures feedback. I think that's how I would describe it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Which of the following best describes a large language model? A model specializing in huge language recognition, a massive neural network that understands and generates human language, a model exclusively used for language data and tasks like summarization and classification, a rule based chatbot used for conversations. I'm going to go with a massive neural network. An LLM is a type of AI model that excels at understanding, generating human language. They are trained on vast amounts of data, text data, allowing them to learn patterns. Okay, so if I go back here, a model specializing in language recognition. Would I say that's really what it would be? That would be the best way. What is the following best? What's the best describes a large language model? LLMs are key components of an AI agent, providing the foundation of understanding and generating human language. So, understands and generates human language. I think it's that one. What does prompting the model when, excuse me, how does prompting the model with let's think step by step impact the output? It encourages the model to generate a detailed plan by decomposing the problem into subtasks. It restricts the model to generating only the final answer. Hey, Strength, what's going on here? Thanks so much for being here. Cause the model to bypass the error. It automatically validates the final answer. I think it encourages the model to generate detailed plans. And I have that in the notes. Yeah. Passed. We passed, everybody. Get the certificate. Uploading your certificate. Cool. That's cool. Certified achievement. Fundamentals. Successfully. Let's see, can I put this here in the chat? It's pretty cool. Hugging face instructors. I think this looks ridiculous, but it's also hilarious. Let me show you what it looks like. Hooray! We just achieved the fundamentals. That was fun. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everyone being here. All right, cool. Let's stop sharing my screen. Let me go back. So that was pretty cool. I'm not. I mean, there's a couple of units more. I mean, that's just the beginning one, but that's pretty funny. Yeah, I might put it on YouTube or something. Um, very cool. Very cool. I thought it was actually pretty good. I thought it was yeah, I think it was really good actually. For sure. For sure. Let me know if what do you think about add to profile on LinkedIn. Okay. All right, go ahead with your bad self. Hugging face. Yep. Let's see. Issue date. It's cool. Let's do that. Let's post it now. Cool. That's awesome. So, this right here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pumped. That's pretty cool. I think any kind of gamifying is fun. Um, I just think that's awesome. So it says now that you have successfully passed, you get your certificate. You can complete that tag, and then it says share it on X. We would be super proud and congratulate us if we say that. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Okay, cool. So conclusion. Let's go over to conclusion. Says, congratulations on finishing your first unit. Just mastered the fundamentals of agents, created your first AI agent. It's normal if you still feel confused by some elements. Agents are a complex topic. It's common to take a while to grasp everything. Take time to really grasp material before continuing. It's important to master these elements. Okay, cool. So that's awesome. So we finished unit one, and there's 4 units or something here. It's interesting. Okay, so we're gonna come back with unit two. Let's see, how long is unit two? Frameworks of AI agents. Interesting. What? Well, this one's short. Okay, so introduction to agentic frameworks. explore agentic frameworks. So you get to do small agents, llama index, lang graph. When to use an agentic framework. An agentic framework is not always needed when building an application around LLMs. They provide flexibility in the workflow to efficiently solve a specific task, but they're not always necessary. Sometimes predefined workflows are sufficient to fulfill user requests, and there is no need for an agentic framework. If the approach can build an agent if the approach to build an agent is simple, like a chain of prompts, using plain code may be enough. The advantage is that the developer will have full control and understanding of their system without abstractions. However, when the workflow becomes more complex, such as letting an LLM call function or using multiple agents, this can be helpful. So considering these ideas, we we can already identify the need for some features. An LLM engine that powers the system, a list of tools the agent can access, a parser for extracting tool calls from the LLM output, a system prompt synced with the parser, a memory system, error loggings, and retry mechanisms to control LLM mistakes. We'll explore how these topics are resolved in various frameworks. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things when we're looking at N8N. It does all those things pretty much automatically, what we're describing right here. So that's why using these different systems, and I'll take a look at what we just used was a Langflow. We'll be testing it out, looking at different things. I didn't AutoGen. I still think I didn't look at the documentation. I mean, I probably should have, but I didn't. Um, but Langflow I liked, and 8N was pretty cool. And then what did we find? Gradio? Never seen this in my life. This is pretty interesting. So that's what we did, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. We had close to 100 people watching and everything. It's pretty awesome. Pretty pumped. Thanks so much for everyone being here. If this is helpful and you want us to do more of this, let me know. I'll come back live and do more when I'm in unit 2 of this Hugging Face course. So there's 4. I plan on streaming all of them and kind of going step by step with you all if you want to. And again, thank you everyone for watching. If you have questions, if you want us to, deep dive and go more in depth with something, let me know. But yeah, we're going to be using this course. And oh, by the way, if you want to use this, I'm just going through this course, the Hugging Face course. Hold on one second. You can get it for free. Sign up, create a Hugging Face account, and you can get some certs as well. So let me put that here. Okay. And if you want my notes, I'm just going through the course and doing all the notes here. If you sign up for the free download, you can get all my notes for free too. So this is AI agents for beginners. If you want to see that too, it's in the chat. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. That was a lot of fun. We're going to be deep diving into unit 2 maybe tomorrow if anyone wants to look into this. And again, thank you so much for the time and energy and everyone commenting in chat, strength, everyone watching from Europe, jumping in, all those things across the world. We appreciate it. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time. Thanks for the encouragement, and we'll deep dive into agents